In a 90 days of power, we need to be outrageous. It's all right, don't beat yourself up if you didn't make that goal, but if you are looking at 2 or 3, you will live up to 2 or 3. So, here's what we're going to do. Where do we begin? We begin with imagination, creativity. So, let your imagination soar right now as we set up our 90 days. Our 90-day outrageous goals. Now write them down, and we're going to look at your goals in great detail. So what is your goal? Is it to be a solid diamond, a solid presidential diamond, an international diamond, which can happen in 90 days? Picture them clearly. You might have a dollar sign goal. Now, whatever that dollar sign is, I want you to write it down. Write down that goal, what you want in 90 days to be making. Monthly. What you'll be making monthly.
After the 90 days.
Yes. Write that figure down. Now I want you to double it.
You want us to double it?
Double it. And I want you to double it again. You should be making it by the end of the year.
A month?
A month. Whatever you wrote down there. If you do the 90 days of power, if you take the action, if you make it happen. Keep stretching. Keep stretching. Keep stretching. The farthest end of your imagination, keep stretching. Is $1 million too much to think of?
No.
Oh, but I see hesitation. Patrick, what's your goal?
4 million.
4 million.
End of the year.
End of the year?
Yeah, for yearly income, yeah.
Yearly.
2014.
Okay, I'm gonna say monthly, that's not gonna happen.
No.
I don't know how to tell you.
Triple platinum.
That was really
You want to name Juan Rosado and Damaris Zapata?
Well,
They're
Juan
both
doesn't even make that
platinums.
much. I think he's at 400,000.
Now, at this point, I want you to look at your
Yeah.
dollar amount. I want you to look at it. I want you to feel it. I want you to breathe it in. What kind of a person do you have to become to earn this? Because something's got to change, or you're not going to get that. Something's got to change. What kind of a person do you have to become to make it happen? I'm going to ask you to write 3 steps that you have to change in order to make this happen. In order for you to become the person that you need to be to work with these outrageous goals. Dare to think big. And don't let anybody or anything stop you. Okay, who's got an outrageous goal? Go ahead, Nate.
90 days is just 10,000 a month was my target.
Okay.
So it's 90,000. It's 40,000 a month by the end of the year.
Great. That's great.
Mine's the same.
Anyone else?
Well, then mine has to be higher.
I'm sorry.
What's going on?
$10,000 a month?
And that's roughly 359.
Okay. 8.
I know.
Okay. Anyone else?
Which one?
Mine is not quite outrageous, and I reconsidered too. At first it was 1,000, and then I switched it to 2,000, so 2,000, 4,000, 8,000.
Great.
Yeah, that's
Great.
okay.
And
I like
that's not too bad. See, you gotta think out of your box. Okay, anyone else? Yes,
Mine was 5,000 and then 20,000 by the end of the year.
great, great, that's great, that's doable.
Could you go through the ranks and?
Yes, we're going to,
Okay.
we're going to. That's coming up, that's coming up. Okay, right now, I would like to share with you my story. You know, I've always shared my story from the time I had a health crisis and how I met For Life. But I want you to listen to the things that are in my background and how it just attracted this type of business. And then I'm going to ask you to think about the things that you have in your background that led you to the attraction of this kind of business. So, we do have attraction marketing, and that's a big thing for the distributors at For Life Research. You attract who you are. You attract, and you become attractive, and you become more attractive as you grow, and we start attracting people from all over. So I want to start out with that I come from a very large family. For me, 6 is large. And 3 boys, 3 girls. And our family were entrepreneurs. Many businesses, many businesses. We were in hotels and foods and, you know, those types of businesses that were with people. Lots of people. And so, believe it or not, your culture in your family is based on what your family does for a living. So, we were primed with manners and, you know, smiles on our faces. And the one thing that we would always hear as punishment was, wipe that smile off your face. Well, they told us to smile, what do you do? But as I grew up, I had a large family. I had 6 children. So I came from 6, I had 6 children, and I was an entrepreneur. I had many businesses. So many hats, many faces, and still raising family. So many people say, well, you can't handle that, you can't balance it. Either you're a mother or, you know, you're abandoning your children and you're going into your business. And I can tell you that you can balance it. I lived it my whole life and created it for my children as well. So you can imagine that all 6 of my children are what? Entrepreneurs. Yes, they are entrepreneurs and very successful, so I've been very fortunate. Now, all of us are For Life distributors. All of us. So my background is I'm an educator. I am an educator. I have a THD, that's a doctorate of theology. That's why you hear people call me doctor, and that's not medical. However, I'm a CEO of alternative healthcare, of an alternative healthcare center. So I married Patrick. Patrick came along, believe it or not, I had my children first, and then Patrick came along and we got married. And he comes from a large family. A very large family, larger than mine. So they are all entrepreneurs. You see how it got attracted? They are all entrepreneurs. Because we could think quick and we could think entrepreneur. So when all else fails, we have business to talk about. Patrick and I merged our businesses, and family. So that, you would think, was difficult. But we were entrepreneurs, so we just balanced everything and moved it. And we formed the National Holistic Center, and it's the largest alternative healthcare center on the other side of the Mississippi, on the east side. And at one time, we had 17,000 square feet, but we've been, you know, trying to make it smaller and smaller as we have aged. We put together 26 episodes of the Mind, Body, Spirit, and that was on America's Health Network. It was on Fox TV. It was on all kinds of TVs, shows. And it went around for like 13 years. I can't believe it. I would think they'd get tired of it. So I guess nobody else knew about it, and we were the ones. So these episodes went to congressional hearings. So there we were on Capitol Hill explaining our life, explaining the way that we think. And because of that, today you have a lot of your alternative health care is paid by insurance. Not all of it, but a lot of it. And that was due to what Patrick and I had done. And we brought together all those wonderful alternative healthcare practitioners that you see on TV, like Deepak Chopra. We brought together Wayne Dyer, and they just exploded from those episodes because they got out more. It was out more. So they were no longer lecturers, they were becoming big stars. So, I also am a provost of a Bible college, World of Truth Ministries Bible College. We formed our church. I'm a pastor of the church. Patrick is the associate pastor. All in volunteering in the community, everywhere. So anybody that kind of hangs out with me, you gotta know that sooner or later you are going to be volunteering in something in the community. So all along we supported our children in all their achievements, their travels. My children learned to travel the world, and because we traveled the world, we traveled all over. We were doing archaeological digs, we were bringing students, and my children, whoever was available at the time, was going to go on these journeys. And some of you have been on our journeys. What do you think of the journeys?
Life-changing.
Yes, they were. So, as you can see, and I've written children's books on meditation and things like that. So,
I didn't know that.
and anything else in between, lecturer, you know, international speaker. So Patrick's and my life was very, very full. We could not put one more thing on our plate. Just couldn't do it. We didn't, you know, I was at 4 hours a night sleeping. But I loved that. I'm not complaining, I loved it. And there was just too much excitement, too many things to do, that I didn't want to sleep. I didn't want to do that. I figured sooner or later I'll have all the sleep I need. I'll catch up with it. So, tragedy hit. My car caught on fire. We were so busy, and my car caught on fire. And I had inhaled all those fumes. Well, it wreaked havoc. I'm not going to tell you it didn't. I was thrilled because I survived. And I didn't have the oxygen therapy that they say would have helped my lungs. So I spiraled down in health from then on. And with all the success that Patrick and I had, there just wasn't anything out there that was really helping me. Even the alternative healthcare practitioners couldn't keep me into quality of life. And one of my students kept coming up. And you have to know that Patrick dressed me. He had to put my shoes on. He had to say every day if I could go to work. We had an awfully high overhead. I think at that time it was $14,000 a month was our overhead. That's a lot. And you, as an entrepreneur, you live first for your overhead. So, I'm certainly sure he was getting a little concerned, as alternative health care is cash, 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 and we were laying out that cash every day and every day. And a student came up and talked about transfer factor and kept saying, Dr. Skeen, and paper, Dr. Skeen, will you just take a look at this and tell me what you think? That's all he said. Now, you have to know, I probably, when he's talking to me, I don't even know my name at that point. I'm just standing. And, I said, oh, sure, I'm going to do that. I am so grateful, and the lesson here is never, never, never give up on someone. You don't know what they're thinking. You don't know what's going on. You don't know they're living in their shoes. You don't know. This man pushed for 3 months. I had a good day. I had one good day. And you have to understand, people fly from all over the world to see me. So I can't just say, sorry, can't do anything for you today. And you can't come and cancel. What are you going to do? Well, they sit me in hot tubs most of the time, so I could just breathe in the damp air and help my body and do what I could. And doctors came and said there's nothing else they can do, and have my talk with my children. And over comes one day, I felt good. I felt real good, and I got up, and Patrick dressed me, and I was in the office. And there's Otha again. Dr. Skeen, he believed in me. He wanted me to be healthy. And he believed in For Life Research. Well, you're seeing me stand here today 12 years later. 12 years later. And I run up mountains. We're still traveling around the world. We are doing so much, and so much for the community. So we started, I let Otha sit in the office, because while I can talk, I was going to work. And I did. So Otha comes in at 4 o'clock. He's been there since 9 or 10 a.m. And at 4 p.m. I said, come on back, Otha. Come to the office. And for the first time, even though he just kept showing me one paper, and on top of it, it said transfer factor. And I know what transfer factor is. To me, transfer factor is 101 in what we do. And it just never registered till that day. I thought it was 3 weeks. He said it was 3 months that he chased me. I am grateful for the 3 months I had, that he was still there chasing me. And I said, you have a bottle? He said, yeah. He went to his car, and I sat and I cried. Because I had many friends that had just left this world, and I knew that I could have made a difference somehow with the products that we had. So I took it. And do you remember the last time that you felt good when you went to the doctor and you had to have antibiotics or some kind of medication? When was the last time? When I was a little girl, that's the last time for me, that you got up and you could play the next day, When was the last time? You gotta take a second one. You gotta take a third, what are they, Z-Packs or something. You gotta just keep taking it. And I love traditional allopathic medicine. Without that, a lot of us wouldn't be here. And I wouldn't be here. And I'm very grateful for them. And if I need them, I'm gonna go see them. I'm gonna go see them. But there are other ways to get us healthy and to give us optimal health. And to me, For Life Research and the products that they carry have done that for me, giving me optimal health. And I'm standing here today because of them. So grateful, it's beyond gratefulness. It's beyond. So what did we do? How did we make this happen? Well, starting with others the same week. It was that same week saying, hey, you simply have to have this. That's all I said. You simply have to have this. What did I tell you?
Take it.
That was it.
I was gonna say, I saw her and I was like, what is she taking? Because the week before she could barely walk. And it was amazing, the difference and the bounce.
That's what,
The bounce.
they would say I had more bounce in my walk. And so there were one-on-ones where people were seeing me. I said, you gotta have it. It was less than 15 minutes they were signed up. Less than 15 minutes. I didn't have 10 exposures, 20 exposures, but you need that in cold market. This was my warm markets, if you wanted to call them that. I call them my friends, my love, my life. And so just in less than 15 minutes, that was it. It's like what you say, go to this movie. Oh my gosh. You're not gonna believe it. It's the best movie I ever saw. Well, you know I said this was the best thing that had ever happened to me in a very long time. And that's all I had to say. And people were signing up. I started with a person who really wanted to study me. Was it really real? Because they had not seen me at my worst times. They had met me after I was feeling better. And so I said, put a meeting together, a home meeting. I'm going to tell you our business grew on home meetings. We had one-on-ones, but one-on-ones take a lot of time and that's a lot of work over again. And I had my energy, but it wasn't 100%. And I had my mindset on traveling the world and purchasing my convertible. If I was gonna go out, I was going out in style, and I purchased my convertible, and it was on 4 life checks that I did that. I had one son left that was still going through college. The rest were out on their own. I had to pay that college, but here's the rift. Patrick and I spent every dime we had, and we had a huge coffer in saving my life. So it's a good thing he loves me, because all that money went out the window, and we had to replenish it. And we did. And it was coming, and it was coming. And we didn't know how to make this money. We simply didn't know how to make it. We just kept talking. The one who talks the most wins. And so, this person, I said, put some people together. Now, she knew more people than most. Okay, some people will know 5, some people know 10, but she had a room of 24. I didn't know a lot about transfer factor, but I knew enough. And I talked, as you heard me yesterday, about the 3 R's. That's what I talked about. I talked about having freedom. I probably did a 20-minute, I think it was about 20 minutes, that I spoke with a whiteboard. 21 people signed up that night. Only 3 did not. But she had another meeting because she knew some more people. Those 3 did sign up on the next meeting, and we signed 17 total on that meeting. So that's a total of 37. These weren't my people. I only had 1. This is called working your downline. They were all hers. I closed them all. She was still skeptical. She couldn't believe it, but the money was coming. The money was coming. So, truly, it was the in-home meetings that made the difference for us. Now we have these people. What do you do with them? What do you do once you sign them up, Sal? I don't know. But Patrick and I began holding weekly meetings at our center. Weekly meetings. How much can you talk about when you really don't know a lot? But there were new people coming in all the time. And you were recognizing these people for seeing the better way. And so we really become more of, yes, we train, we teach, but awards. We want to reward you for seeing the better picture, for seeing what it's all about. So all these people kept coming, and now Patrick and I are saying, but we gotta travel, we gotta travel. Well, what we did is we made sure that everybody started having their own meetings, but we would have the first Thursday of the month, and we would have a big one, a big one. And so that's what started happening. So that's how we got started, and then of course you know about our 90 days where 300 people became the influx to our organization, which rocked our world and changed our world. You could say, okay, this is one bottle at a time. Really? Take a look at the big picture, because that one bottle affected many. Only one person took it. But they made a difference, and they made a difference in these people's worlds. And so we have to teach everyone just to talk. Just to talk. When they say, boy, you're looking good, well, it's that transfer factor. And that's what I said every time. And I'll still say that. The only thing is I gotta figure out which transfer factor product did that. You know, because I take the transfer factor products faithfully. Patrick doesn't think I take them enough, but there were times in the beginning, and I know they say it starts rendering, you know, it's full effect at a certain amount, but my coughing would stop. And that was big, because if I said a word, I'd start coughing. And I was known to take a bottle, just for a day, and it would stop my coughing within 10 minutes. Yes, I used to end up on the floor or something with the coughing. So that was pretty big, pretty big. So I started having conference calls with 4 Life executives. I said, can you help us? Can you help us? He said, yes. That's so wonderful about this company, the support that you get. All you gotta do is ask. And I became a guest speaker at larger meetings. I would fly to where the Platinums were holding meetings, and I would give my testimony and I would speak. So, did I know half the time about all the things that For Life does? No, but I spoke of what I did know. And it made a difference. It made a difference. I continued my education in this type of business, in multi-level marketing. I just didn't understand it. I don't care how many times you would tell me, I'd smile, go, I don't know. I'm just talking to people. I'm just talking to people. But now we understand it because we got mentored. It's so important that you're mentored. Because if you're not, you only know what you know, and you'll stay in that box. We need mentored. We need mentored from those that are successful, those that have had something different, an experience that could change your life. So always look for the stars. Reach for the stars, and those stars will help you tremendously. So we started holding rallies. The executives would come out, and we'd have a wonderful, wonderful day or two where they share the experiences to those who cannot travel. And that was wonderful. We held 4 Life destination events. Way back when I didn't call them destination events, I'd say, we gotta go meet our partners. We gotta know what they're doing. And we started with 8 people way back when. I don't even know how many years was that. So many years ago. And I can tell you that events are truly the most successful if you got the people there. It is very successful because they feel it. They're watching everybody else and say, wow, I gotta get in on this. What is that? So I came to Rio Vita Night in Utah. I learned how to have a Rio Vita Night. There were 2 years that there was a Rio Vita night, and Alice Lelo did a phenomenal job. And so I asked her to come out for our first Rio Vita night. And so now we annually have, in the late summer, early fall, a Rio Vita night where it's fun, where the Rio Vita flows like honey
It's so
in a fountain, and we